Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We'll be continuing. That's chapter 5, the Yoga of Action and Knowledge, and we will be learning about Dhyan Yoga or meditation together with devotion as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. We have completed till verse 25, so we'll begin chapter 5, verse 26. To those wise men who are free from lust and anger, who have subdued their mind and have realized God, Brahma, the abode of eternal peace, is present all around. Now in the last few verses, Lord Shri Krishna has been teaching Arjuna how it is extremely important that in this very life, before we, discard this body, before death strikes us, we should be able to control the urges of lust and anger. But here, he's very specific. He's continuing with the same thing and he's telling that to those wise men who are free from lust and anger. Why lust and anger? See, these are two important, rather the tendencies, right, or the qualities. They are not the positive quality, they are the negative qualities which pulls a human being downwards. It doesn't allow them to rise above, meaning on the path of spirituality or even to being your good self. It doesn't allow you, because you never know when you'll get angry, or to why you will get angry also, you don't know. That's how your mind reacts. Even for the stupidest of the simplest things, the mind will latch on to some subject, object, and it will keep provoking. So what happens? You're getting angry by the minute, not even understanding the reality. Why are you getting angry? What is the reason for you to be angry about? What is the reason that is causing this disturbance in your mind? You're unable to control. So Lord Shri Krishna was teaching Arjuna that he has to control the urges of lust and anger in this very life before discarding this body. What does that mean? Before you die, it is very important that you control. That is the only way in which you will be able to evolve on the path of spirituality and attain God realization or self-realization. So here is talking about to those wise. Means what? Only a few people have been able to control the urges of lust and anger, and they have realized the Brahma. So he's saying to those wise, one who has attained the knowledge, one who is the knower of the truth. To those wise men who are free. See, these people are already free from lust and anger. They are not getting carried away with lust, trying to fulfill their crass human requirements, the baser instincts. We say the basic instincts as well, because those are the baser needs of this human body. So we fall prey to such lusty desires of ours. So why does this happen? Because of our own the tendencies, the inherent nature, and all these Shadripus, lust, anger, greed, you name it, these are all going to pull a human being down. So Lord Shri Krishna has been telling so beautifully, he's teaching Arjuna that please don't fall for the urges of this lust and anger. You're not going to achieve anything. On the contrary, you're going to go off the path where you could have evolved and attained God realization. So he's saying to those wise men who are free means they've already become free. They're not getting pulled into the direction of lust and anger. Even when somebody is provoking you, you should not get angry. It's very easy to lose control. It's very easy to get angry. That one mistake of yours can cost you all that effort you might have put in. See, you might reach, the peak. There might be, you're just short of a little more distance in going to that Mount Everest, that peak, literally. And imagine at that very moment something happens, and then you have the avalanche or whatever, the slide, and then you fall down from there. You know how huge that fall is and how hard that fall is? You come straight down, ground zero. And do you know how much effort you have to put in to climb the mountain once again? It's not easy at all. So why make that one little mistake where all the effort that you might have put in into becoming the divine being go for a toss? It's very easy to lose that divine self, but it is very difficult to climb up, to attain that once again. Fall is very easy, but the climb is too arduous, it's too tedious. That is why the Lord is saying, do not get provoked, do not get angry even on provocation. So we have to be able to control. We need to be in our, this, like we say, the awareness. How is our mind reacting to certain things? If you don't like some certain objects, certain subjects, stay away from it. Like my Guruji has always taught us, we might not see, it is a part of our life that we might dislike certain beings in this world. You know what? He says, if that is the object which is causing you misery, remove all the existence right from your phone. You're not going to keep that contact or anything like a picture or whatever that is going to disturb you. So the moment you remove those objects from your sight, it is out of sight, out of mind. This is one method. But here we are not talking about that method. What we are telling here is, what Lord Shri Krishna is saying is to see God in everybody. Which means that object is meant to be, that object's nature, is like that. Why should we get lost in somebody else's, that the mind play? Why should we get lost in that? So stay out of it. My Guruji taught a very beautiful lesson. You know what? In the last few chapters, Lord Shri Krishna has actually been revealing a very profound secret. How does this attraction and repulsion happen, in that same object? The same object can be attractive to somebody and the same object can be repulsive to someone else. Now, what is the difference that lies here? Why is it attractive to someone and why is it repulsive to somebody else? So say example, you have someone as your enemy. Now that individual is also a wife, a husband, a mother, father to someone else. That child of that individual is obviously going to be loving that individual, no matter what that person is. For that individual, that being is a mother or a father. So they will revere, or husband. They love the most. But for you, that relationship is very different. So you are going to hate that individual. So does it mean that the repulsiveness that I have versus someone is going to love, or attraction that they have means the same? No. Lord has taught something very beautiful. The attraction and repulsion already exist in that sense object. Why do you get lost in that? Why do you get carried away in that? How does that happen? Let me give you a very nice example how Lord Shri Krishna has taught this. He said, the moment the senses come in contact with the sense object, immediately you're going to repulse. The mind comes too fast. Even before you realize, the mind has already come into existence. At that moment, what happens? That signal of I don't like. You get angry just by listening to the person's, even the voice. That's the kind of repulsion that can have, that your mind can create. Now that repulsiveness will, give rise to anger, because you don't like what is happening to you. Don't like, that's called the pairs of opposites, like and dislike. So you're not liking it, and at that moment your anger is growing by the moment. Why? Because your mind is dwelling in that object. Oh, I don't like this voice. I don't want to see the person's face. It's irritating. The mind is constantly irritating. It's irritated and your anger is growing by the minute. At that moment, what should you do? You have to stop dwelling in that object. Distract your mind from dwelling on that object. And then what happens? If you do so, then you're not going to go further into the ditch. But if you don't, and if you allow your mind to dwell in that sense object, then what happens? You get attached. Now that attachment is going to cost you very dearly. Let me explain to you why. The moment you get attached to that object, imagine it is all about karma. It's a repayment. You've already incurred certain sins. The sins is, I hate, I don't even want the sight of this person. I just don't want to be associated. The more you hate, the more you say, I don't want, that object has become very firm in your life. Which means what happens? You have sanctioned many birth many more births for yourself with that individual, which means that individual in some other life has to be in your shoes to give the same thing back to you. Because obviously, whether you like it or not, that's a attachment that you created, and from that attachment what comes up is the desire. What is a desire? I don't like that person, I don't want an association, I don't even want to hear the voice of the person, and I want to stay out of it. So it is important that you don't dwell. The moment you dwell, what happens? Anger comes in. The moment you get angry, like I said, attachment comes in, attachment to desires. So you're incurring karma. And to avoid this, the only way you can avoid is, there is an object, you just have to stay away, which you think you are not, you're going to get, into a tizzy, whatever. So stay out of it. It's the most beautiful thing. At that time, what you should do? You have to distract your mind. Go and watch a stupid video. Go and read something. Go and do where your mind can be at peace. Don't allow your mind to think on that subject or the object. That's the only way to achieve this. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And that's why he says the urges of lust and desire. And the wise man is free from this because he understands all this is nothing but a play of Maya alone. The world is it's full of illusions, and these illusions are put forth, and sometimes they come to check how do we fare in our own spiritual path. Means am I able to apply the lessons learned, which we are learning now? Lord Shri Krishna has been imparting this most beautiful truth about how to live, the way of life, and this is called the real knowledge. And so, having this knowledge, have I been able to apply it in my own life? That is the most important thing. See, till the time you don't give tests, how do you know where you stand? So these experiences, these tests are important. And then you will, make an effort consciously to practice. And what does Lord Shri Krishna say? Arjuna, strive to practice the yoga of equanimity. And because he also understands that this is not something very easy to attain by every individual. You have to put tremendous amount of effort. You have to practice every single day and be careful and always observe your mind. How does your mind react to certain things? And when like my Guruji has taught, just stand out of your body. It's like you watch your mind. You and your mind are not one and the same. So you're watching your mind. There's a threshold when the mind hears something or it sees an object, which is both. It likes or it dislikes. There's a threshold. Now my mind is going to react. Now my mind is going to say this. So you're watching your mind from outside, standing in how your mind is going to come there. You know exactly your nature, which means the nature is for you to immediately get angry. But can you control? The moment you have this understanding about your own self, you will be able to control. And then you have to remember the lesson at that moment in time. It's not other times. See, that is why these experiences and tests come to us. Why? Because the Lord wants to understand whether you are able to understand these lessons imparted by Him. Why does He say, I just need one person who can understand this truth? Because it's not such an easy thing. Yeah, we can all mouth knowledge and we can say, yes, I have mugged up the Bhagavad Gita, all the verses, I can rattle off. That's not going to be helpful. The truth is, understanding this knowledge, you should be able to apply it in your own life. And then only you will be able to make progress. Otherwise, you're going to be going downwards, where you're regressing on the path. So here is saying this to those wise men who are free from lust and anger, who have subdued their mind. Subdued their mind means you have able to control. It's not going to react. So once you keep practicing, you will be able to subdue your mind and have realized God. So which means the God realization has already been attained. Brahma, the abode of eternal bliss, who is present in all. So what is he saying here again? So the realization that you have is that the Brahma, the abode of eternal peace, that is eternally, it's peaceful, it's calm, it's beautiful, it's a blissful existence to be in, is present in all. What is the truth here? That is present in all. Meaning what? You have to be able to see God in everybody. We don't have to like someone or dislike someone. Just see God in everybody. Even when your mind says, I don't like the sight of that person, can you just do Krishna Arpan? My Guruji taught me a very beautiful lesson yesterday, and in that he was telling, it's we were talking about how this world is all, has a huge disparity among with respect to the wealth distribution, or some people are, so poor, some people are rich. All this is there. And how do you live? How do you live this? The abode, how do you attain this God realization is to live in the here and the now, which means I'm not going to keep running after things. That's what lusting, right? I'm lusting, I want more money, I want house, I want to get married, I want to fulfill my crass, lusty desires. That's not what I'm looking at. So what he taught was that, can we all, whatever place and position we are in today, can we live in this moment in time? Can we feel contented with what we have? That is the state you need to be there. And when you live in that moment, then you are not going to bother about what the future is. You will be able to be highly productive, which means you're going to do your work with absolute love and devotion. And when you do that, you will any which way attain God realization. And also you'll feel peaceful within yourself. That eternal peace, that abode of eternal peace, which is what you will experience, and understand that there is this present in all beings. It's all around. It's present all around. It is everywhere around us, just that we can't see. Why? Because we're covered with ignorance because of our lust, desires, anger, and many other things, those tendencies. Especially the desire bit, because you're so full of desires. I want this, I want that, I want that. And today we're trying to understand, see, imagine now there is third wave of, coronavirus that's being, announced. Now what is happening to the world? People are not following rules. Why? Why can't you follow rules? Why can't you understand that we all have to, make an effort to be safe and not sorry, which means I have to follow the rules. It's not about changing another person, it's about you being very disciplined yourself. So today everybody has taken it very relaxed until this news came in, like just yesterday. And now the whole world is panicking. People have gone back to conducting weddings, people have gone back on spending. Why can't you just spend, why are you spending only on yourself? Why can't you give that little bit, at least 1/10 of that wealth to this world? The world needs today. Why are you not doing something about it? Why do you think your wedding is the priority? Why can't you use that money, wisely? Wise is the word. What good does it going to do you just because you want to go and, enjoy that, celebrating, trying to buy some expensive clothes which you're not even going to wear more than once in your lifetime? Why are you wasting? Yesterday my Guruji was teaching something very beautiful. The whole world thinks that the fabric cotton is, it can be recycled. And there is a very nice video which is there about the landfills, and my Guruji was teaching us how it takes a long time even for the clothes that we have to recycle. One is, we always thought cotton is a biodegradable, which means it gets recycled automatically. So there's no way it's going to cause harm to the environment. Whether we like it or not, it takes a long time even for for garments like the cotton fabric or any other fabric to get recycled. And today if you look at all these fabric which is having this, it's a polyester mix and all those different fabrics that is coming in, it's all made of, it's called polyester or other like lycra and you name it, all these kind of fabrics. They are not able to recycle these fabrics. Then what happens? Everybody is hoarding so much of clothes. Say I have 100 garments, 100 pieces of garments. How much am I actually going to wear? And how long by the time it gets recycled will it, how long will it take for that garments to get recycled? And then I said, what about the silk? My Guruji asked me a very interesting question. He said, how many years do you have your great grandmother's silk sari from? So I said, yeah, she was 80, she passed away. Obviously, yes, it's more than 100 years. So imagine we are having Even if it's original pure silk, we are having a sari which can last for 100 years. Now, in those times, these saris were made of original silver or gold thread. Now, there is an option like my great grandmother's sari. We went and removed those zaris and we melted it. So we could get the metal, which is silver, from that. Now, today's day and age, obviously, you can't afford something like that. So what is that you're going to have? It's all polyester. The silk is fake silk. So how are you going to recycle it? So this is a huge question, and that's like nobody has an answer. So what is sustainability? What is renewable resources? How do you protect our environment? One most important thing, we should remove lust from our life. We don't have to have so much, we don't have to lust behind things. Can we live a minimalistic life, or just simple as much as we need? How much enough is enough? That's a question you always have to ask. How much you will keep buying? How much do you need? And that is why today, if you look at the world has evolved into a very different ball game altogether. So the environment is throwing these kind of situations so that we rethink, and then we also understand how we have to take responsibility from our own self to protect the environment, to be able to consume less things, use all that is which is natural, and not too much of plastic and other kind of metals which is not, where there is no option of it getting recycled. Can we avoid that? That is like every citizen's responsibility, or every human being's responsibility, to ensure that we have to protect our planet. But if we don't have this goal in our life and we want to go and splurge more, spend more, waste more, then what is the universe going to do? The universe is giving a message. And what's the first thing that we can't do is we can't go and be in groups. You have to be in isolation because it's a virus that is affecting all of us today. So why can't we become responsible individuals and contribute that much, whatever that you can, to protect this planet? So responsibility lies with you alone. So here, the question of overcoming this lust, how does it happen? Lust and anger. We don't have to run after things. Can we live a contented life right here and now? Can we be happy with whatever condition that you might be in? Can you just be contented, saying, God, thank you for this beautiful life? Can we ever say that? That is what you need to have. But if you don't have that, then what happens? Then there is a problem. Then we are going to suffer very badly. There is going to be a disparity in the distribution of the income, wealth, everything. And then there is going to be a huge imbalance in this world. But for the universe to rebalance itself, then it's going to throw natural situations, its own methods it is going to use to bring that balance again, once again. So why do you want to force the nature to do that? Once we all act in a way which is conducive to this environment and ourselves, the universe also then is very kind with us. But we have abused the universe endlessly. Imagine how much a man is consuming the natural resources. The Mother Earth is even compassionate. She is like the limitless ocean. She is ever giving, but we are not being kind to her. So we as a responsible individuals, who are a habitant of this world, on this planet Earth, we need to protect. And that is something you all have to take it personally and set a target for yourself or a goal for yourself. What is that you will save? See, today nobody is bothered. Everybody is trying to just run after their own, fulfilling their own desires. So these two, when you become wise, when you understand the truth about what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching, you will not be running after be either lust or anger or even desires. Because when does the anger come? Anger comes because of unfulfilled desires. So why are you running after that? Because you want to get your desires to be fulfilled. And if it doesn't happen, you are a very bitter and angry person. So the lesson which my Guruji was teaching us is that, be contented with whatever God has given you. There is a reason why God has put you in that place. Can you just make the best of it and be happy with it? It's not about having more or less, or for those who have less, they always aspire more. So see, Again, not just those who have less. Everybody's still aspiring more only. Nobody's saying, okay, it is enough, or even if I have less, it's perfectly fine. Nobody agrees to that. Everybody's always wanting more. So can we just live now? If things has to come to you, any which way it will come, whether you like it or not, because it is already predefined in your destiny. And whatever you have to get in this very life, you're anyways going to get it. So why bother? Live in this moment, make the best of your life and do something with it. That will take you a long way in your life, and most importantly, that it will help you evolve on the path of spirituality. So I hope you understood. And we will also be able to experience God in everyone and all around us. You'll see that grace. And that when you understand that truth, your life will become very beautiful. You will become a blissful being. Shutting out all thoughts of external enjoyments with the gaze fixed on the space between the eyebrows, having regulated the prana, that is outgoing, and the apana, that is incoming breaths, flowing within the nostrils, he who has brought his senses, mind, and intellect under control. Such a contemplative soul, intent on liberation and free from desire, fear, and anger, is ever liberated. Absolutely. Here, this is exactly what we were just learning, but the Lord is teaching something very beautiful. He is giving you a method. How do you do it? He is asking you to do pranayama. It's a breathing technique where you're going to focus. And what is he saying? Shutting out all thoughts. So you're freeing your mind. You're not having any thoughts of external enjoyment. You're not thinking, oh, today I want to eat ice cream. I'm going to go watch a movie. I know I want to do this. I want to travel. You're not thinking anything about your enjoyments. With the gaze, your gaze, with a gaze fixed here, in between the space between the eyebrows, right here, in between the space. Having regulated the prana, that is outgoing breath, and incoming, then apana, which is the incoming breath. So you know how you breathe, right? You inhale, you exhale, you inhale and you exhale. So you have regulated the breath. See, initially if you start breathing, so when you sit down to do pranayama, if you observe, your breathing will, the way you breathe will be erratic. Now, what is that you need to do? You have to regulate. So you calm down and then you focus on your breath. Then you just conscious about how you're breathing. So you exhale, you inhale, you inhale, you exhale. So you're actually then regulating your breath, which is flowing within the nostrils. He who has brought his senses, mind and intellect under control. So now by doing this, you're also bringing your senses, right? Your senses, mind, intellect under control, because everything is focusing now. You're focusing on your breathing. All your energy, everything, your senses, everything is focusing on that breathing alone. Then what happens? You're regulated. Then you will see slowly it'll go inward. You'll be able to just observe the breath, how you're inhaling, how the air is entering. You can experience it if you be very focused. You are very conscious of it. And then once you have regulated, then your posture, your mind, everything is in that one alone. So you have single pointed devotion. And when you do that, what happens? And it helps he who has brought his senses, mind and intellect under control. And then you have brought all of these things under control. And then in that state, what happens? Such a contemplative soul, intent on liberation and free from desire, fear and anger, is ever liberated. Now, when you practice this, what happens? You're contemplating. So through contemplation, your intention is to achieve liberation. And what happens when you get liberated? You're free from what is the most important thing? Desire. See, here the words are very, it's in a sequence. There is an order in which he's describing. Now, what is the first thing you'll be free from? Desire. Like I told you, why do you get angry? Because of unfulfilled desires. So what is the first thing you need to overcome is the desire. And then fear. You know why? We human beings are driven by fear. We are afraid of everything in this world. We are so fearful of our life. We don't know what to do. We're constantly living in that fear. Oh, what is going to happen? If you say, example, you've lost a job and then there's a panic attack. Oh God, I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting an interview call. People put fear in your mind. I'll tell you very interesting. Last 3 months, this month I finished my, my notice period. I was serving my notice period in my organization. I just finished. So everybody's like, oh no, what's going to happen? How come you have not landed a job? So everybody's trying to question from their end. So what does that create? Oh, it creates fear. Oh, whole world is getting job. Why is it I'm not getting? But when you have faith, you don't have to worry about it. You just have to do your duty. What has to come to you will anyways come at the right moment, at God's appointed timing. When you have surrendered to the divine Lord, do you think anything shall befall you? No calamity shall befall you, and He's there ever to protect you. So why fear when I'm here? Sai Baba says the same thing. So what is the second most important thing which you are going to be free from? It's fear. Fear of uncertainties in life. We don't know what is tomorrow. We live in that fear of uncertainty of life. What is going to happen? Am I going to die? Oh, coronavirus, now third wave is coming. What's going to happen? I don't know. But you know what? One lesson which we forget in our life to learn is that everything happens for the good alone. There's so strength in it. There is freedom in this, in that belief. Everything is happening for the good alone. What is the good? Can you see the good actually? No, you can't. But you think, oh no, something bad is happening. Why should this happen? Wish I could have done this. I hope this coronavirus didn't come now. Oh, my travel is cancelled. Something bad is going to happen. We always fear the downside of life. But what we don't see at that moment in time is that everything's happening for the good alone. That good we are not able to see at this moment in time. So we need to have faith. What is very much important? It is absolute faith. It is not, just 99 point. Faith is not 99.999%. It is 100%. It is absolute faith. Your conviction that yes, everything is happening for the good alone. I don't see it, but I know there's something beautiful out of it. So, when everybody told me, oh, you don't have a job, that's kind of fear they create. Why should I bother? When my Lord Shri Krishna is there, why am I bothered? I don't have to bother. I just have to do my duties. I have to apply for jobs. I have to give interviews. What is due to me will anyways come to me. When you have that conviction, when you know the grace of the divine Lord is always on your head, there's no bad that shall befall you. When you have this faith, then what makes you think that you have to fear, oh, I don't have a job, what is going to happen to me? And then anger is not going to come. See, anger comes why? Because of unfulfilled desires, and we are fearful in life. And then this itself is a liberation, and then you are ever liberated. That is how liberation is attained. Liberation is not something that you have to achieve, which you think there is something. Liberation is when you become free from desire, fear, anger. That is liberation. And what are you saying? The moment you are free from all this, where is the question of you getting attached to the body? You are free eternally. That is the real liberation. The meaning of liberation is that. And is ever liberated. The day you achieve this state, you are ever liberated. Then after that, there is no looking back. My Guruji was teaching something very profound. And in that, I learned a powerful lesson. You know what? I was applying the lesson which Lord Shri Krishna has taught to Arjuna, right? Remember, beginning of this chapter, beginning of this satsang, I was talking to you, how does the mind actually come into existence? Where does it all stem from? How does the desire come? And if you observe people, do this exercise yourself. Observe yourself and the people around you. You might say, experience, suddenly one day, your boss is extremely happy. If you're very pally with your boss, you should say, boss, you seem to be very happy today. Go ask him, what is it that's so exciting? I like you. I like your energy. Just ask him. And he'll say all the nicest things that has happened to him that day according to his mind or desires. But some people just say one stupidest thing can annoy them to that extent. And I'm sure you have observed whether it's your cranky child. Your child sometimes is cranky. For all those who have children, you should observe them, right? Someday they are very happy, they're calm, they're peaceful. Someday they're crying, they are just, you don't know all is happening, right? They're crying, they're irritated for no rhyme or reason. But if you observe them, it's something that is disturbing them in their mind. Something that is disturbing their mind. And that disturbance is causing them that misery. What is the disturbance that is there? The disturbance is nothing but, I didn't like today what I ate. It could be as simple as this. Today, I wanted to eat idli. You made upma. I'm just saying stupid things. Breakfast. Like, it could be as stupidest as that. But what has happened? The desire to eat that idli was not fulfilled. So the anger is there. So this is what happens even in small children or anybody for that matter. No matter how you can be a 0 to 100 age, but this is how the human mind reacts. The human beings are so, frail and fragile because they're not able to control their mind. And they allow their mind to dwell in that, and that becomes one huge problem in their life. Why? Because you just didn't make something that they wanted to eat, that they desired. And that is so irritating to them. That whole day they'll be in that, upset state. Have you seen this people's face? Some people when they wake up, my Guruji will say something very funny. He'll say, their face looks like as though they have drunk castor oil. You know why? There is no smile on their face. They're upset. Their mind is like, it's angry. Why? When you wake up in the morning, you have to be smiling. Don't you think you have a beautiful day? There's one more nice day to our life. We're waking up to such beautiful, environment. We don't consider that. We feel this life is painful. It's so, I don't know why this existence itself is there. That is how we feel. Don't you think that we are not doing, what I mean is, don't you think that we are doing injustice to that life that God has given? Of course, yes. Why? We don't know how to live properly. And that is what happens. So, what happens here? So, the one who's free from desire, fear and anger is ever liberated. So, this is what the observation you have to do. Watch people around and yourself. Someday you will be all high, someday you will be very low. But who is this making this high and low? It's all in your mind. So, the day you become free, most important, from desire, then fear doesn't come. Then what you overcome is called anger. So all three things you are free from. Then you are ever liberated. So liberation is very easy. Liberation is not something that you think is a lofty goal which cannot be achieved at all. It's very simple. But this simple thing we don't even make an effort to achieve. Why? Because we are always living in this concept of, living in that fear, living in that fulfillment of our desires and living in anger. We're constantly running after fulfilling our desires. Why should we do that? So overcome this and please remember how free you will feel. Contentment is what you need to have. Like I said, live now. No matter what kind of a life you have, be very happy with it. Be very blessed. Think how grateful you are to this beautiful life. We recently celebrated Thanksgiving. Everybody's saying thank you. But do you think really thank you makes any difference to anyone? No, it's just they follow like a tradition or a custom. The real thankfulness is thank you for this life. Thank you for making me understand what is the truth about life. And you have to just thank for everything that you have. If not for that, you wouldn't be who you are or who you will become. So be very grateful. Let us learn to be our good self so that we can make this world a better place. So we'll finish this one more verse. Let's finish this. Having known me in reality as the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all the worlds and the selfless friend of all beings, my devotee attains peace. What is he saying here? Having known me in reality. So when you know the Lord in reality as the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So what is all sacrifices? We discussed this enough in the earlier chapter and as well as in few other verses which he has discussed in this chapter as well. You have to look everything as a sacrifice. Like we said, whatever you eat, what you see, what you do, you have to offer everything as a sacrifice unto the divine Lord. And you only partake of that as a blessed food or blessed that offering that you're making to him. Then you partake of it. And that is the way how, no matter what you do, it is already blessed by the Divine Lord. So when you do things like this, then you're not accruing any karma. And you're going to have a God-pleasing life. You know that you're only serving the purpose of the Divine Lord, which is through the path of knowledge and karma. So you're performing nishkama karma, which is selfless action. So having known me in reality as the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So no matter what you offer, whatever sacrifice you make, it's all going to the Divine Lord alone. And austerities, which is something you have to practice. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be evolving on the path of spirituality at all. But forget about the path of spirituality, but even also to be a good human being, you need to do it. The Supreme Lord of all the worlds. What is he saying? That he is the Supreme Lord of all the worlds. Everything finally comes to him alone. And the selfless friend of all beings, my devotee attains peace. And selfless friend of all beings, he's the best friend that you can have. It's not about another human being being your friend. That best friend is there within yourself. Selfless. He's not having any expectation from you. No, you should give me this, you should do this for me, you should do that for me. See, a material worldly person, a material worldly friend will have an expectation from you. But the Divine Lord is that selfless friend of all beings. He doesn't have any expectations from you. But no matter how many times you go to ask for help, he's ever ready to help you. That is how great he is. But this is something we don't understand. Why? Because we are fallible human beings. We don't realize the truth about who is good for us, who is not good for us. That is something we never realize. We think God is only there to sanction all our desires, fulfill all the desires that we have. No, that's not what we have. We should be looking at. And the selfless friend of all beings, my devotee attains peace. So what is he saying? My devotees. See, here he is not telling the entire world is going to attain the peace. He knows very clearly who is going to attain the peace. It is my devotee attains peace. So become devotee of the Divine Lord and you will achieve your God realization. That is the only way to attain that blissfulness in your life while you perform your swadharma, following the path of dharma, and the God realization will come to you on its own when you do a selfless service. So don't run after things. Most important, overcome your desires and everything will be at your palm of your hand. So it will become very easy for you to achieve it. So with that, we have come to an end with chapter 5. So we will end here. Thus in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma and the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 5th chapter entitled The Yoga of Action and Knowledge. So let us continue with a new chapter from next satsang onwards. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha, Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishnarpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru.